How much education did he have?
In Scotland, he went to school from about age 8 to age 12 when they immigrated, and that was it at that point. When he came to the U.S., he had to go to work. However, after he'd been working for a few years here, he's now got a job as a telegraph operator. It's not a grueling job. He's got free time at night. He goes to night school to learn double entry accounting. He goes to the libraries and just reads everything he can get his hands on as far as history goes, American politics goes. So there was an incredible amount of self-education.
There's a letter in here, or a diary entry, December 1868, from the St. Nicholas Hotel in New York. What's the circumstances of this?
Okay, well, he's moved to New York the prior year, and he's convinced you've got to be in New York because that's where the action is, that's where the money is, and anyone who wants to build a large business has got to be there. But when he gets there, what he finds is that you've got all these scoundrels on Wall Street, like Daniel Drew and Jay Gould, and he was expecting sort of the London of the United States, a cultured city, but that's not what he finds. So I think he's feeling a little melancholy about his situation there. He's missing his friends in Pittsburgh. Then he sits down December, end of the year, and writes this note to himself where he pledges to himself that he's going to retire in 2 years, which would put him at the age of 35. He's going to dedicate himself to literary pursuits. He wants to move to Cambridge in England and meet men of letters. And he wants to spend all his surplus income on philanthropy, uplifting the masses.
He's 33 when he writes this.
That's right.
Let me read straight from this that you have in the book. Man has an idol. The amassing of wealth is one of the worst species of idolatry. No idol more debasing than the worship of money. Whatever I engage in, I must push inordinately. Therefore, should I be careful to choose that life, which will be the most elevating in its character. To continue much longer overwhelmed by business cares and with most of my thoughts wholly upon the way to make money in the shortest time must degrade me beyond hope of permanent recovery. I will resign business at 35. I notice also, and you talk about this in the book, that he spelled things differently than most of us.
That's right. He wanted to spell things phonetically. He thought that the American version of English was too complicated. And just, I'll give you just another quick story, is he eventually funds this spelling reform movement because he feels if English is more phonetic, it'll be adopted as a world language, and there'll be better communication throughout the world, and thus world peace.
The amassing of wealth is one of the worst species of idolatry. And here's a guy that was second richest American in history.
That's right. I think that's a reaction to what he saw in New York. And he realizes that. And yet he also realizes that he's so driven internally, he can't shut himself down. I mean, he's got to go 100%. So he's warning himself.
Go back to the mother, Margaret. What was that all about? Well, and he actually lived with her, physically lived with her until he was 51 years old, until she died.
That's right. I think that, I spoke a little bit about how she came to the rescue, and she was a driving force for him, and he just could not let her go. He stepped into his father's shoes. I don't want to get into any psychobabble, but he stepped into his father's shoes, and he felt it was his duty to take care of her. Not only that, she had a lot of common, just street business sense. And to give you an idea, when he was a boy, and he finally went to school, they had to recite Proverbs. So it's Andrew's turn now. And what does he say? He says, mind the pence and the pound will take care of themselves. So all the kids get a great laugh because obviously that's not in the Bible. But that's what his mother always told him. And later in life, what drives him? Mind the costs and the profits will take care of themselves. So you can see that his mother, even her little Proverbs, had such an impact on him through his entire business career.
What was he like? How big was he?
He was 5'3" on a good day. He would wear lifts in his shoes. His chair at the dining table was 2 inches taller. He had just blonde, almost white hair. And at one point, he struggled to grow a beard, so he would look older because he didn't get much respect from other people because he always had this baby face. You got to imagine this, so you have to imagine this 5'3" man just with incredible energy, always bounding about.
How much did he weigh?
He was always, I don't know how much he weighed, but he was always in excellent shape. He prided himself on that.
Now, the picture you have here on the cover of this book is from what year? Do you know?
I don't know, but he's got to be in his early 80s at that point.